What's up, everyone? This is DYANAROZAY. Welcome to my channel. You saw the thumbnail, so you know exactly why you're here. This is a commentary for Love and Marriage Huntsville, episode 11. You guys, there were some things that went down in this episode, and all I can say is those YouTube streets aren't lying. Okay, we're going to get into all of it. But before we do, please hit the like, subscribe, and your notification bell because that is how others find me. Also, guys, follow me on IG at DYANAROZAY. Follow me on Facebook at DYANAROZAY Real Talk. That is a private Facebook group, so you're going to have to answer some questions to join. Also, I appreciate every single one of you for rocking with me. So let's get into it. So the scene picks up exactly where it left off, with Marie screaming, "This is our idea, but this is our idea." Marsau then makes this snide or underhanded comment, well, when it was under the comeback group, it was dysfunctional. Kimmy says, well, you were the most dysfunctional person in the group. Marsau says, well, it was still dysfunctional then, wasn't it? Now, I told you guys last week that Marsau and Tisha didn't come to this meeting to compromise on anything. It was their way or the highway. So if they get called names or people just call them point blank out, like calling them liars or saying you clearly are going to take money from this event because there's no way in hell you're putting in on all the expenses and not getting reimbursement. Even though everybody called them out on every single thing, they didn't care as long as they get their way. That's all they wanted. They wanted that name, Black with a Q, to be up on the billboard and all of the money for themselves. Kimmy turns to Melody and said, do you mind if we call it a comeback initiative? I know you don't want to be in the group, but how do you feel about it? Melody said, I don't care. Then Mel said, with everything we discussed today, what date is it actually going to be on? Tisha said March 8th. Then Marsau chimes in and said, you can't make it? Melody said, I don't believe I can because I'm touring with Eric Bellinger. That's when Maurice chimes in and said, well, Melody, we do have this thing called technology, so you can just bring your laptop and then show people how to do the property preservation class. That can be your contribution. But before Melody could say yes or no, that's when Tisha chimed in and said, nah, that ain't gonna work. And that was all Melody needed to hear. She spun around in that chair so fast and put them fingers up at Tisha's face. She said, you can take that baby bulldog ass attitude of yours someplace else. You act like you were all excited for all of us to be a part of this initiative. But anytime anyone makes a suggestion that says they are for me being a part of it, there you go with the bullshit. It looks like my presence is causing you to have a bad day. Maybe you can take a time out and get your stuff together. Then you can see that Martel is getting his whole life from this. So he looks over at Marsau and starts making a barking noise. I guess to say that Melody is chomping up Tisha. But honestly, I don't know what it is because Martel and Marsau are horrible instigators. But Tisha's response to Melody was, if I want to go home, then I would just go home. Then the whole group just gets into a horrible back and forth. But Maurice ended by saying, this is why we cannot come back. Then Maurice also said that if Melody's not a part of it, then he's not a part of it. And even though Tisha and Marsau were 100% okay with Melody not being a part of it, they didn't like the ultimatum that Maurice gave. So Melody told the group that she'd have to think about it because she's going to have to take baby steps with all of them. She don't like him and she don't trust him. And that includes Martel. And that's how the scene ends. Next up, we have Miss Melody Cherie. She decides to take a pole dancing class to relieve some stress. She said that with everything she has going on, she needs some fun and she needs to do something different. And she invited her good friend Nell to join her. She said that throughout the years, Nell has been the only one who has proven themselves to be genuine when it comes to her and also a pure heart. Then these two ladies put on like some 6-inch, maybe some 8-inch high heels and started doing some pole moves that was actually pretty hilarious. Then Melody and Mel had a chance to have a little one-on-one where Nell was trying to pry a little bit and find out who Melody was dating. She was like, girl, I see them arms and stuff in them pictures. What's going on? Who are you on vacation with? Spill the deets. Melody said, I'm not ready to tell anyone and I don't know if I ever will be. You probably will find out when I am married. But she did end up sharing a little bit of something. She basically said that her new man is everything her ex was not. Melody said that she was sleeping with the enemy, and it wasn't until after her divorce when she started trying to manifest a provider, a professor, a protector, that she realized she never had it. And she said she's grateful for the place she is in right now. And that is how the scene ends. So next up we have Marsau and Tisha. And the way the scene is playing out, they want us to think that Tisha is going apartment hunting. The dream house is delayed. Apparently it's going to take some years to get it built. Marsau is predicting 2024. Because of that, they're going to renovate the family home they're currently living in so that they can add more space or make it more comfortable until the dream home is complete. Now, here's where things get tricky. Marsau says, I'm going to continue to live in the family home and work on it in the evenings or on weekends, and that's after he works on the projects that supposedly pays him. Anyway, he proposes that he stays in that house with their son MJ, while Tisha stays in the apartment with the girls. Now, the big gotcha is that Tisha tells Marsau in the scene that you're not taking my son over to that house while you use it as a bachelor pad. And then she says, don't play with me, Marsau. Now, Marsau attempts to reason with her, but he is treading lightly because y'all know Marsau loves to knock Tisha down a peg or two. But in this scene, he actually seems afraid of what Tisha might say, so he's being real measured with how he speaks. Tisha, wait a minute, Tisha, Tisha, that's disrespectful. Either way, this scene had nothing to do with them apartment hunting for renovations. The streets are saying that these two are already separated. And the way Marsau was trying to keep Tisha from saying the wrong thing felt like confirmation in my opinion. Next scene. So Courtney meets up with Marsau to talk about hiring family and firing family. It's really a scene to set up the family drama that's going to happen between Stormy's mother and her auntie. So Courtney reintroduces Junior, y'all remember that's Stormy's nephew, and he shared with Marsau that he had to fire him because he was lazy, looking at his phone all the time. He said that he was like a brother to him, so it was really hard. Asked Marsau how he handled it. Marsau said, well, things happen. Hell, I had to fire Maurice when he was trying to get married to Kiowa, which I don't know if that's the same thing. That's pretty dirty and low down. But he said that Maurice was stressing him out and that had nothing to do with him because he shouldn't have been marrying anybody at age 23. Anyway, next scene. So Tisha asked Melody to join her for lunch so she can find out the real reason she doesn't want to be a part of the comeback initiative. She starts off with a confessional where she says, there's something wrong with Melody. I just believe that she doesn't want to be a part of the group, and I wish she would just say no. And I believe that she did say no when she said, I would like to dissolve the group. I don't want to be a part of it. When they had the name up and it showed black with a Q, she said, keep the name. I love it. Do what you guys are going to do. And she ended the last meeting with, I'm not really comfortable with working with you guys. There was a whole lot of things that were said that's still, prickly sensitive for me. Therefore, I'm going to need to take baby steps. Now, most of us know that no is a complete sentence and it's pretty universal. But it didn't connect for Tisha, so she's going to have to hear it a different way. But Tisha asked Mel how her kids were, and she also asked how the custody exchange was going. Melody told Tisha that they've been doing it for 3 years, so it's pretty routine right now. But in confessional, she said, I'm not telling Tisha shit about my custody case. She said, if you've never done it, then you have no idea what's involved. But you could look at Tisha's face and see that whatever's going on between her and Marsau, she might have been seeking out some personal advice. Anyway, Tisha kind of get to the meat and potatoes of things and said, listen, I know you, Mel, you weren't really participating in the meeting the way you used to. And it was in this moment that you could really see the difference in personal growth. Melody had to remind Tisha that they haven't been around each other in a minute. And prior to that, their relationship was pretty contentious. Mel said just a few months ago, you were calling me a dark soul. In confessional, Tisha said, well, I had to put all of those feelings aside so that we can move forward and do things for the community. Mel should do the same. But Melody said, no, ma'am, I'm in touch with my feelings, so I'm not going to force myself to do anything that I believe to be an attack against my spirit. So no, but what I will do, if you need advice and I have the time to give it to you, give me a call. I might help you out. And then she gave her her phone number. And it's probably the same number to that burner phone she uses for Martell. But Tisha needs confirmation that Melody is going to participate in some shape, form, or fashion. So she said, well, we're going to look for event spaces. Are you willing to come with me? But Mel started eating her salad, and they started playing this crunching noise sound effect that was the equivalent of crickets. And when Tisha tried to pin her down for an answer, Melody said, mm-mm, mm-mm. And that's probably the same thing she does to Sugar Mama when she asked for apple juice. But then Melody said that she would see what she can do, and that's how the scene ends. So the last scene is Stormy. It involves her mother Betty, Betty's sister Lisa, who happens to be Junior's mother, right? Junior, Stormy's favorite cousin, the one she fired from her warehouse. Now this was a very long scene, so I'm gonna give you the short and skinny of it. Betty counts Stormy's pockets the same way Mama Joyce counts Candy's pockets from RHOA. But where she seemed to differ is that she doesn't have a problem with Courtney. At least she doesn't come after Courtney the way Mama Joyce comes after Todd. And Betty doesn't like her sister. In fact, they disown each other in this scene. And y'all know the old lady gang, they pretty tight. So the scene is supposed to be about Stormy and Junior, but it isn't. And you can tell it isn't from the jump. Betty and Lisa go after each other 2 seconds after she enters the house and sits down in her chair. Lisa tells everybody that she's tired of Betty. She's always telling her how to raise her son, talking about you need to whoop him. Now, he's a grown-ass man, so I'm not even sure how she let those words escape her mouth. But Betty has also told her to cuss him out. And she said that she didn't like the way he took care of things at the warehouse. That's when Aunt Lisa says, well, wait a minute. Who owns the business? You or Betty? Stormy does this thing where she has her mouth open and she's pretending to be torn between her mother and her auntie. And they both scream at her to say something, but she doesn't. So Stormy's mama said, listen, I don't bite my tongue for shit. And then she tells Junior, I don't like how you handle things at that warehouse, especially after Stormy paid $15,000 to get you out of jail. Then Lisa jumps up and said, get this damn mic off me. I'm done with you. I'm done with this scene. Then things get chaotic, but it feels like it's manufactured chaos. Then Courtney comes in the room and he's telling Betty to calm down, but he has a smile on his face, so you're not really taking him serious. Somewhere in the middle of the chaos, Lisa yells out, well, your damn daughter went to jail too. Then she says, you're not my sister anymore, and she walks out the house. Now, in my family, when people would fight like that, somebody got in the car and left. But Lisa just went on down to the fence and looked at the pond. Then Stormy catches up with her and she tries to get her to mend fences, but she's like, no, it's never going to happen. And even though there was a little more that went on in the scene, that's how it ends for me. Now, because Junior is very grown and Stormy is very grown, I'm still not sure what these people came together to even discuss. There is a moment in the scene where Stormy tells her mother that because of her, she can't have parties and things at the house. But when you have a mother that is that overbearing living in your house, typically the issue is with the son-in-law too. And I would rather see that dynamic than whatever's going on between Stormy's mother and her auntie. But you guys, let me know what y'all think in the comments, okay? Like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit your notification bell, and I will see you all on the next one.